Ever wished you could grow your own summer salads but struggle with the heat of summer? You're not alone, but the good news is you absolutely can get the pickings you deserve. Today I'll reveal how smart gardeners can grow delicious, fast-growing salad leaves even in the heat of summer. We'll be sowing and planting into these, I'll be sharing some tips on how to harvest, and if you think it's too hot to grow salads right now, I'm going to show you how easy it is to beat the heat. Summer is undoubtedly a time of plenty in the garden, but fleshy leaf salads can really struggle with heat, water stress and even long days working against them. This here is my main salad bed, which together with a few other salad leaf plants dotted here and there around the garden give me plenty of leaves for pulling together a lovely fresh garden salad as and when I want one. But here is illustrated the perfect problem of growing salads in heat. Bolting. Now these lettuces here are well and truly past it, and if I snap off a leaf you can see what I mean. You can see the milky sap coming out here which renders it really bitter tasting, and yeah, that's really quite bitter. So these guys are just good for one thing, and that's pulling up, although there are lots of little bugs on here, so I'll be sure to shake them off. Summer salads do bolt or flower prematurely much sooner in sort of warmer summer weather, so it does mean we need to replace our plants at least a couple of times over the course of the summer. Now I'm going to replant this area here with young salad plants already grown before showing some other ways to successfully grow summer salads. So the first job with our plants removed and any stray weeds lurking in there is just to add a bit more soil fertility. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of compost here like that, just spread it to about an inch or a couple of centimetres thick, and then just for good measure a little bit of a sprinkling of blood, fish and bone. This is a sort of fairly balanced organic natural fertiliser, and there are kind of alternatives if you want to avoid animal-based products. There we are. I'm just going to lightly fork this in like that. And these are the little plants we'll be planting, and if I lift up one of the little plugs here, you can see it's really soaking. I've had these soaking in a little sort of reservoir of water, so they're kind of saturated. That, together with thoroughly watering them in, will ensure they've got a nice, moist, cool start to their lives. That will really help. Now I'm going to plant them about 8 inches or 20 centimetres apart in both directions. So I'll get 2 rows in here, and I've got these lovely red Lollo Rosso lettuce leaves, a salad bowl type, and I've got a little cos type as well, and another green loose leaf type. I think that's about right. And now let's give them a good drink to set them on their way, and they're off. Now my job now is of twofold importance. Is to keep these well watered, and if it gets really hot and sunny, which it kind of is today, then it's good to keep them a little bit shaded as well. Now it's quite sunny at the moment, but for much of the day, especially kind of mid-afternoon, this is shaded by the tree here. But if you are in a very open spot and you don't have any natural shade, you can just improvise. You could use kind of upright canes with pots on or something like this, and then just throw your shade cloth, old kind of curtains, net curtains would do as well, and just put it on the sun-facing side like that. I'd put on some little clothes pegs here to hold that in place so it doesn't slip off, and I've reduced the intensity of the sun quite significantly. A little bit of shade together with regular watering should keep these salads much happier for much longer, and I expect to be picking the first leaves from these guys certainly within 3 weeks. So here are a couple of tips that should help with your summer sown salads. So I've made my drills or rows about 1 centimetre or ½ an inch deep, and I'm filling the row with some water, and then I'm going to let it drain through. There it is, and I'll water it again, and this will create a lovely, cool, moist environment around the seeds to really speed up that germination. Sowing is exactly the same as usual. Take a small pinch of seeds and then sow the seeds quite sparsely if you can, so we're not going to get great clumps of seedlings coming up. And with that done, you can just cover them over, and we're going to finish with a water from top as well. And now for my second tip. I'm just going to lay a plank of wood over each row like this to, lightly shade the surface. It will keep everything consistently moist under there and nicely shaded, as I say, to really help these cool season seeds to sprout. Now I will need to check under these every day after a few days, and as soon as they've started to germinate, the planks can come off so they can get the light that they need. This simple trick should dramatically improve success, and it works for other cool season crops like, say, carrots or salad onions. Another way to dodge the heat is to grow salads in containers, and because salads are relatively shallow rooted, they can be grown in just about any container. It's easy to move containers about, either into the shade or even indoors into the cool to get them started. And speaking of harvesting, I just want to show you how I harvest these salads. I usually take the outer leaves, leaving just the smaller leaves at the centre to grow on. All of this from just 2 plants. This is going to make a cracking salad. And here's that same plant just 1 week on, and as you can see, it's already grown some new leaves, so I can take another harvest, which is fab. Now this plant should continue like this for up to several weeks, which, when you come to think about it, is really rather good value. Today I'm going to be sowing some salads in a couple of perhaps unexpected containers, a colander or strainer, and this surprisingly shallow tray here, which can't be any deeper than, say, a couple of inches or 5 centimetres deep. Let's start with the colander. And to stop the potting mix just running straight out of the holes here, I'm first going to line it with this very light weed control fabric like this. So I'm going to cut it to size and then fold and crimp it into our colander. You all ready for this? Ding, ding, ding. That'll do. I can always fold it in once I've filled it with the potting mix. And for our potting mix, I'm just using an all-purpose, peat-free mix. Just flake away any lumpy bits and just push it nice and level like that. And we'll tuck it in as we go. And I'm going to be sowing some arugula or rocket. I just love rocket. They have such seductively spicy leaves. It's just gorgeous. Now, the great thing about arugula, sowing it at this time of year, is that earlier in the summer, it does have a tendency to bolt. That's just when it stretches to flower and you don't get so many usable leaves. It does that in response to increasing day length. But with midsummer now behind us, we can look forward to many more luscious leaves rather than flowers. So I've spread my seeds thinly over the surface like this, and now just a little bit more of our potting mix and just cover them over. Right, let's give them a little bit of a drink. Now, arugula, or rocket as I call it, really does rocket away, and I should have leaves here to pick within about 3 or 4 weeks. I just need to keep it all consistently moist, watering every sort of couple of days or so. And I'll harvest the leaves individually so that the individual plants can continue to grow and produce more leaves. Like most salads, arugula or rocket prefers it on the cooler side, which can make germinating a little bit trickier in very hot conditions. To get around this, I could just bring my sown colander into the cool of the house to germinate. Then once they have, they can come back outside into a shaded spot. If you are somewhere that gets heat wave-like temperatures quite regularly, then choose a shady spot that also gets a bit of a cooling breeze and that's away from areas that retain heat like concrete or brick walls. A great alternative to growing salads in a colander, and certainly an eye-catching one, is to grow them in a basket. Again, line it with your weed fabric, fill with potting mix, then sow your seeds thinly over the surface, lightly cover, then water. The best bit about growing your salads in a basket is that it comes complete with a handle, so you can pick up and move your salads about. The ultimate lunch on the go. And now for the tray, and I've actually got 2 of them because I'm going to sow 2 separate salad leaf mixes. I've got a nice mild lettuce leaf mix and then a slightly spicier, more heavily textured Asian leaf mix. You can, of course, buy seeds of different salads and then mix your own mix. But I like these pre-mixed salads because, well, they've got experts at the seed companies to choose what grows really well together. So we know we've got a perfect mix that's going to go really well in unison together. So what have I gone for? First up is a Tuscany salad mix with both red and green leaved lettuces to make up our salad mix. And if I get the seeds out here and tip them out, you'll be able to see that they've got a mix of pale seeds and then darker ones, and that will translate into the different leaf colours. Let's get sowing though. So I'm first going to fill our pot with our multi-purpose or all-purpose potting mix, and I go right to the top, because once I press it down, that should give us about ½ an inch or a centimetre of clearance from the top to sow into. There we go, and if I press it down like that, get it nice and even into the corners, and now to sow. And again, same as usual, just a little pinch of seeds. These are quite fresh seeds, so I know they're going to germinate really well, and just get a nice even spread over the top like that. Spreading them out like this rather than sowing into rows is called broadcast sowing, by the way. I should be able to tell what these are by the seeding leaves once they come up, but just in case, I'm going to take the precaution of adding a little label in there. And now let's get on with our second salad here, which is a mix of mustards and tatsoi, which is going to give a lovely, pleasingly spicy blend that can be used in salads or indeed cooked in stir fries. These are going to be so good, I can't wait. The final task is to give our trays a good water. Now I'm keeping the water moving here, going back and forth and lightly sprinkling the tray each time. This avoids accidentally sploshing out the potting mix if I was to keep it in one spot for too long. You could also use something like a spray bottle for a steadier result. Then once the seedlings have come up, you can water them from the bottom by setting them into a larger tray filled with water so they can soak up moisture, and once you see beads of moisture at the top, you know it's nice and wet and you can take them out. It is warm here at the moment, but it's not impossibly warm. That said, I think I'll get better results if I move them into this fairly shady spot here that remains shaded for much of the day. And I'd say if you're in a hot climate, this is absolutely essential. Now, my next step isn't essential, but it is worth doing to kind of speed along germination. So I'm just putting this clear bit of old sort of window pane over the top here, and that'll create a nice humid microclimate and help speed up germination. What we want to make sure is the sun doesn't hit this, because then it'll really ramp up the temperature and act like a greenhouse. So keep this in the shade, keep this on, and as soon as the seedlings germinate, remove it. And here are 2 pots sown with the same salad leaf mixes just 6 days ago, and you can see they've already germinated and are growing away strongly. And here are the same pots another week on. They grow fast, right? The great joy of sowing your own salads is that lightning speed of growth. You don't need to hang around for long with these guys. But if you don't fancy sowing, or it really is just too hot to get on and sow, you can always start them from ready grown plugs that are ready to plant, and have yourself a smorgasbord of salacious salads. Now what I've got here is a mix. I've got some oak leaf lettuces, red, some green ones, little gem lettuce, endive, a little arugula, and then this rather beautiful red-stemmed mizuna. So let's get them planted into these handsome terracotta pots. But terracotta wicks away moisture and isn't ideal when it's hot and dry. So I'm first going to line them with some plastic. Lining pots with plastic will create a kind of barrier between the potting mix and the wicking away surface of the terracotta, so we get the really lovely looks of the terracotta but without that kind of incessant watering that will be needed with terracotta. So I put my plastic in, and then I'm just going to poke my scissors through here to make a hole in the bottom that corresponds with the drainage hole in the bottom of our terracotta pot. There we go. Now I'm going to fill it with my potting mix, and once that's done I can then trim around the edges. All of the salads I'm planting can be harvested just 1 leaf at a time. What it means is I can, on each passing, just take a couple of leaves from each plant and then leave the remainder to grow on and produce our next harvest. This greatly extends the life of each plant and means I can get quite a lot from a relatively small space, making this kind of growing ideal for those with really small spaces, such as a balcony or, say, a patio garden. I'm planting just 3 into each of these containers because that should give us really decent sized plants, which means I can harvest them repeatedly and really get the most from them. So you've got your pots, trays and colanders sown and planted, but what's the best way to pack them into the space you have? One method is the stepladder treatment, with each rung of the ladder serving as a platform for your pots. It's a great way to lift pots up off the ground to make more of a feature of them. This lad is in Mark Ridsdale-Smith's truly chock-a-block front garden I toured a few summers ago. He has so many clever ideas, and I'll link to our video on that tour in the description below so you can watch that after you've finished here. Mark makes use of all his outdoor space, and I really do mean all, where he grows trays of cut and come again salads, red Russian kale, pea shoots and microgreens. Why not cover every surface like this? There's no point in wasting even a single square inch. The same goes for vertical spaces too, of course. Try painting or staining a standard piece of trellis, then hang this up onto a wall or sturdy fence using hooks. Secure pots to the trellis, a few loops of strong garden twine should do the trick, then fill your pots with potting mix to sow or plant into as usual. What you'll get is a beautiful wall alive with produce and colour, perfect for even the tiniest of outdoor spaces. Well, come heat, drought or even a washout summer, I'm pretty confident we can now grow ourselves a really cracking summer crop of salads. I'll catch you next time.